Take 50% off.
All right, what is going on, everyone? We are here for another Tuesday night TWMX live stream show. I'm your host, Gavin Ayala, and as always, with me is Trey Steyer. Trey, how are we doing tonight?
Doing great. Fun weekend of off-season racing and a lot more team news to cover and talk about. It was a really fun weekend and excited to hop into the show tonight.
Yes, sir. It was a good weekend for me, too. I was actually in Florida this weekend. It was supposed to be the Lakeland Partsville Arena Cross this weekend, but actually got rescheduled, so I ended up going down there anyway. We were planning on basing that trip around visiting family. My dad lives down there. We brought my kid down there and got to spend time with Grandpa and hang out a little bit. And we actually went to the Cletus McFarlane, the Le Mullet's 2.4 hours race that he does out there. It's a good time. We linked up with Aaron Plessinger, and as you guys may know, I do his YouTube videos. So we went down there. We filmed a little bit. I'm actually going to be probably putting that video out tomorrow, so keep an eye out on his YouTube channel for that. And it was a car race, a lot of fun. He was partnered up with Michael Waltrip, the NASCAR driver, which is he has a lot of history and stuff like that with Dale Earnhardt Jr. and all that, which obviously Aaron's a huge fan of. So anyway, it was a lot of fun. We had a good time out there, and I know it's not moto, but that's where we're starting. We're down there for some car racing, some carnage, and minivan jumps, and a bunch of craziness down there. And then actually, who else was there was Courtney Roxon. She was down there with her kids, hanging out, watching the races, while Kenny was in Vancouver racing World Supercross. So it's kind of still cool to see how the family is out and about, still doing things even when Kenny's gone, and enjoying some racing. And the kids were watching Aaron, and it's funny watching Griff interact with them, and he's like, "What cowboy, cowboy," calling Aaron the cowboy, and it was pretty fun. But yeah, we had a good time down in Florida, and came back. I got home at like 1 in the morning today, pretty much. So it was like a 15-hour drive, like pretty gnarly. So I am pretty tired tonight, not gonna lie, you guys. So just bear with me. But we're gonna have a good show tonight. We're gonna talk a little bit about what's going on. We have a little bit of news. We didn't do a show last week, so there's a few things to cover. I mean, real quick, you can see on our stories. If you go to motocross.com, there's always plenty to read there. You can scroll down our site and see what's going on. We've had a lot happening. I think obviously we covered some of the biggest news, but I think we didn't get into obviously Tom Vial returning to MXGP for 2026. He joins HRC Honda, and we got to see him in action in Paris Supercross in the 450. So that was cool to see, and he did decent. We had some little mishap there that caused some things, but we'll go over that in a little bit. Obviously, we have a few more articles you can see on the website here. Bar X announces their lineup. Joe Shimoda re-signs at HRC. Landon Gordon signs with Star Yamaha. Star obviously is known for bringing on these riders, and every year we have a new roster, a new semi-truck full of kids that are showing up, and talented, fast people. So really cool to see all those things happening. But we'll jump right into Paris Supercross. It's a 2-night event, so it's a different race. Yeah, this has been going on for, man, how many years did they say, Trey? What were we on?
This was the 42nd edition of it, so a long, long time. I mean, it's been guys like, of course, James Stewart went over there and raced, and
Mhm.
a lot of history. Used to be known as Bercy back in the day because it was located in the Bercy area of Paris, but now they're pretty much downtown. But still one of the most hyped off-season races every year, of course. The Lawrence brothers were there, Cooper Webb was there, Tom Vial was there, Malcolm Stewart was there, and Mookie Fever was running wild all over Paris this weekend.
Definitely, it was it was pretty interesting to see. I noticed also, like, for the 250 class they had out there, it wasn't really, you didn't really see any of the AMA boys out there. They were really at Vancouver for this weekend, but we still had some interesting stories there and some good racing. I was able to catch up on some highlights and things like that before coming on the show, and it was good. I think I mean, honestly, it was a really busy weekend of racing. There was a lot going on between everything. It almost even more if we would have had that arena cross happening. Like, it would have been it would have been a lot. But luckily, this weekend we're going to return to that. Parts of the arena cross is actually here in North Carolina, near where I live now in Fayetteville. I think it's only like a couple hours or so from me, so I'm excited for that one this weekend. That's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, Paris Supercross, it looked great. We really wanted to go this year. I think maybe next year will be one of our goals is to start attending more of these international races. Um, but this year we didn't make it. I did go 2 or 3 years ago with Chad Reed. I went there with him, and I remember one of his complaints was, no whoops. Well, we definitely had some whoops this time, and they were those steamrolled whoops, which was interesting. Kind of looked like video game whoops or something, but I don't. It's hard to have an opinion on that without really asking the riders exactly what they thought of it. Like, because when I look at that, I'm like, would that be something that that's like better or not? I mean, it's kind of a weird thing. It's cool how they do it. They pack it in really tight, but I wonder like how difficult that is for them.
I mean, I've heard, at least recording my podcast today, I know that my co-host Jack is pretty close with Tom Vial, and Tom was telling him those were the biggest whoops he's ever seen in his life,
Oh wow.
and that they were very challenging. But I mean, you look through the weekend, you think 6 races in each class, plus they had some mini bikes out on the track. Those things never really broke down. They were packed in so well, and you never really saw anything, any chunks or any ruts forming.
Yeah.
They looked like the same form in race 12, the final 450 race, from what they were on Saturday night when the 250s took off for the first time. I thought they held together really well. And honestly, I think one of the most satisfying things about watching Supercross is if somebody absolutely nails the whoops and blows through them. And Malcolm Stewart, man, he's one of the best in the whoops, one of the best ever probably through those section. And he was just hammering through there, passing guys left and right. I know the first main event, it really set the tone. He was catching Cooper Webb and just blew past him in the whoops. And I'm like, this is taking me back to when I first started watching, seeing a Stewart just blow through the whoops. And I mean, it was a lot of fun to watch. I know, or at least I feel like Malcolm's victory, anytime he wins, it's really popular in the paddock
Mhm.
over here in America. Of course, over in France, the fans were saluting him. I know back in the day when James would come over, they were huge fans of Booba, as they would call him. But I don't know about you, but man, I was happy for Malcolm. He really went into the race, I would say, as like the fourth guy to win it, because obviously you had Webb, the defending winner, plus the
Mhm.
Lawrences. Malcolm Stewart, if you had betting odds, would have probably been the fourth highest odds, but he was kind of counted out. Plus, you had Vial debuting on his Honda machine. Everybody was talking about that, and he really went in under the radar, and I think it helped him. All of the talk centering around these other guys, and Mookie just went out there and straight up dominated. He was balling out there, and it was really cool to see him get the win.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely think he was the underdog, kind of unexpected, but that separator, the whoops, his strengths really shined on this one, and they ended up becoming, because of his win, like you mentioned, James being out there, he ended up being like the first duo of brothers to get that win in
Hmm.
Supercross. You know, like when you think of brothers getting the win these days, you always think of the Lawrence brothers because they're both active doing it. But you got to remember that history that James has put there, and now Malcolm stepping it up and getting better and better. I mean, I'm excited to see him carry this momentum in the next year. I think with how he's riding, if he can keep that going, it just seems like he's only getting better and getting more comfortable on that bike. I could almost see if maybe 2, 3 wins at Supercross. You know, like that's what I want to see. But it's really interesting the contrast between um, the whoops in World Supercross, like how they can do that with those whoops packed in like that. The consistency these riders can have each lap is probably a plus. You know, they don't have to change it up. Whereas in World Supercross, they were breaking down, chunking up, and they had to change up their lines and start jumping through them. And I think it was Kenny that was saying when he changed it into jumping into him is when he started losing his momentum and not able to catch Eli. So it's definitely a huge factor, and it's a big strength for Malcolm, and he really took that to his advantage, and really not only with the whoop steamrolled, but he steamrolled right through everyone on that, and that's a lot of motos. What he went 1-1-1-2-2-1, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
4
like
wins in 6 races. I mean, incredible performance, and even the races he lost, he was right there. The one moto, him and Jet started up front. I think it was the 5th race. Jet and Malcolm were 1-2 the entire time, and Malcolm was a second or so back the entire race. And I mean, they put 15 seconds on Cooper Webb, and usually you can never drop Cooper Webb. He's always there hanging out, but those two broke away from the pack. I mean, Malcolm was on another level this weekend, and Jet, once he got some of the gremlins and the bad luck out of the
mm,
way, he was back to his normal spot up front. But I think even after an eighth place finish with the crash in the first moto, and then of course the DNF in the third moto, for Jet to be on the podium, I think is a solid result and salvaging something after the way things started, because it looked very uncharacteristic. Like I was watching it Saturday and I'm like, who in the world kidnapped Jet Lawrence and stole his gear and rode on his
yeah,
bike? I mean, it was like 8-3-14. Like that is not
yeah.
Jet Lawrence level scores at all. But he rebounded, came back a lot stronger, 1-1-3 on Sunday to salvage that third and that podium. Of course, Cooper Webb won it last year off of consistency. He was consistent again, but Malcolm's level of speed and intensity this weekend, he just didn't really have a match for it. So we got a new King of Paris, and I think it's 7 or 8 in a row now. We've had new winners, or at least non-repeat winners. Marvin Muscan was the last guy to go back to back.
Oh wow, yeah, it was. Yeah, that's pretty cool actually. But it's always 2 days of racing, right? Paris Supercross.
Yeah,
So it's
I believe so. I mean, this was my first year really being able to watch it. I watched a little bit last year, but not much. But yeah, it's a very interesting format with the two
mhm,
nights. And of course, you have Super Bowl in there too, which,
yep.
if you're familiar with World Supercross, we have that a lot where guys are going for the fastest lap and best gate pick. But there's a lot of action, a lot of playing up to the crowd. I mean, night one, the crowd and playing up to it, you have all these cool videos and stuff. You had like the Lawrence brothers riding in on a motorcycle. You had this like Tom Vial action movie little thing introducing him to the crowd. Malcolm came in what looked like a Formula Drift car or something like that. I mean, their opening ceremony, of course, over here in America, we have the fireworks and the pyro, and we have that every week. So we're not really strangers to it, but seeing them play it up so much overseas is really cool because they all come out and they interview for the crowd, and it's a really big deal over there, I feel like. And turnout looked amazing. It was fans for all you could see, 30,000 seats or however many seats fill Paris La Defense Arena, but it was a really fun show. 250 class was good as well. I know you briefly mentioned it, but you had Luke Clout coming over from Australia. He's usually a 450 guy over in the
Mm-hmm.
Australian series, but he was on a Bud Racing Kawasaki 250. Then you had Anthony Burden, who has raced in America the last couple years. He returned home and he took the win. They were going back and forth trading wins. Clout had the advantage by a couple points, but he had a really disastrous fifth race. He goes out first lap in that back rhythm lane with the tables and then the quad at the end, which Mookie popped to get around Webb at the end of the night. Clout ended up landing on the back part of Calvin Fonvielle's bike, went down, and I guess it messed up his shifter or something. I don't know if it was bent, broken, but something was messed up. And of course, we saw that in St. Louis SMX with Hayden Deegan, how much a shifter issue can plague being able to charge through the pack. And when Burden's out in first place and Clout can only manage 13th out of 15, at least 15 guys running, it started the weekend with 18 guys, but that was a huge blow. And shout out to the 945, man. He was got the win in front of his home crowd. I know the fans were really loving that. Clout was second overall. Fonvielle, who is the French Supercross 250 points leader, he got third overall. Like you mentioned, no real heavy hitters and huge names, but it was still a really fun show in the 250 class. Another guy who impressed me, a guy I know from watching MXGP, he's more of a mid pack guy, Saad Suleimani from Morocco, but I didn't know he had the supercross skills that he has, and he looked pretty solid out there. I think he was fourth or fifth overall, and he impressed me a lot this weekend. But great battles all across the board. Of course, awesome to watch Mookie take the win. Cool to see Jet Lawrence put a terrible night behind him and rebound. And then, like I said, the 250 class, you didn't really have the star power, but it was still very entertaining racing. And I think the fans who attended the weekend, they got their money's worth for sure. It was a lot of racing, a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see more Paris Supercrosses. Maybe one day, potentially, even get out to the event. It would be really awesome.
Yeah, definitely. I think the 250 class really did put on a show. Like you mentioned, Anthony Burden taking that hometown win is pretty huge. I'm sure the fans went nuts for that. But I mean, honestly, like he had to work for it. Like, he came. I don't think he really got a decent start in any of them.
No,
He was fighting
there was a
through.
couple he was up there, but yeah, it was
Yeah.
like sixth to eighth range every
Hmm.
time. But he would just slowly pick off guys, and he has that experience. I mean, from the French series, of course, over here in America, he's run World Supercross, so he has a ton of Supercross experience under his belt. And there's some younger guys in that 250 division over there now, plus with guys like Maxime Dupre over racing World Supercross. He's usually their champion guy or one of their elite guys, but he was over racing in Vancouver, so he wasn't there this year. But I mean, he worked through the pack. He was very patient, and then once he got up front, he started hammering away and chipping away at Clout and all of the other guys who were running up front. It was a very solid ride for him. I mean, a French rider and a French team winning, becoming Prince of Paris. I know when he went through that last big rhythm section on the last lap, the fans were roaring, the French flags were waving. I mean, they were really stoked for him, and it was a really cool sight to see him win that race.
Yeah, definitely. I saw all those flags going crazy in the stands and the recaps there for sure. But and also shout out, Kalana Humphrey. He was out there on a Stark Varg. So
Mm-hmm.
we're out there on the electric bikes now racing. And I actually had a meeting with like the CEO of Stark earlier this year, and I knew we talked to them. I was just getting a feel of what they're kind of doing, and their biggest concern that they expressed to me was they just wanted to enter the playing field with everyone else. They didn't want their own class. They didn't want an e-bike class. They wanted to race in the class with
Straight up.
everyone else, straight up. And this weekend, we had that going on in both series, both World Supercross and Paris Supercross. So I think that's amazing for them and the manufacturer to have those opportunities, and hopefully that keeps going. I think it's only fair, and especially if it's controlled how it is and the way they do it, and it's pretty legit. And it would be interesting to see where that goes. And I think that is maybe the best course for it too, is not to just make it its own thing. I'd rather just see it mixed in there, And then the noise isn't a big issue too, because I just hear everyone else and it's all good, you know.
Yeah.
So it actually works out pretty well. So shout out to him. I think he had a rough one of his motos went down, but
Yeah, he
still
ended up missing all of Sunday actually, but
okay. Yeah.
two motos he was able to finish. He was like fifth or sixth, which I think is solid for him because
Hmm.
I every time I think of Kalani, I think of like soul riding, free riding,
Yeah.
whatever you want to
Exactly.
call it. I think of him more in that avenue. But he is a solid racer. I know last year he raced some arena cross rounds on the e-bike. So it was cool to see him up there. Unfortunately, he wasn't really able to finish in that top five or fight for a podium, but he had a couple good motos. And then, of course, a little bit of improvement over in Vancouver. Michael Hicks had some decent rides. I know Stark's still getting used to everything over there, but I agree. I mean, I think it's cool to see them racing the gas bikes. I feel like a lot of people were worried they would kind of overpower things, and there are obviously areas like off the starts. I mean, you get that instant power, it helps them out a
Hmm.
lot. But then again, you go through the whoops, and I hear that's a glaring issue. Of course, you have that torque and that power you kind of have to harness where the gas bikes can get on top of it and really dig down deep. But still very interesting to see how they evolve and progress throughout the season. I'm sure they're really using this, at least in World Supercross, as more of a baseline year. I mean, they've got veteran guys. You look at Vince Friese, of course, he's had a rough year so far, but Vince has been there, done that all around the world. Zaragoza has raced all around the world as well. And then Michael Hicks, of course, was champion of the e-bike class in AMA Arena Cross last year. So hopefully we can see them get a baseline. I know, of course, Stark has raced in some other like British series and stuff around the world. So it's probably a really big learning year, a really big learning curve when you have some of these bigger organizations that are so used to Supercross, like the PMG Suzuki team that races over here on a yearly basis. Of course, Quadlock Honda does as well, and they, of course, are dominant down in their native Australia. So it'll be interesting to see their continued progress and to see how much they're going to charge through the pack through the rest of the year.
Yeah, definitely. And you guys, don't forget to check out motocross.com if you want to see the full recap that Trey has put together on the website. Obviously, as you see here, I'm scrolling in the background. There is a lot of information here. We have all the results from both days, everything you need to read to get a quick recap for yourself. We are always posting on motocross.com all the kind of information like that, as you can see. We have World
I hope people
Supercross.
appreciate the amount of motocross math I had to do for those overall scores in Paris.
Yes, there's a lot of
I'm used to
numbers.
doing them for two races, but not six
Yeah.
minutes. So I'm going through and I'm like typing at the end of the thing. I'm like, okay, that guy would have had 61 overall. That guy has 64. So I got to move him up. It was funny trying to figure it out. And that was probably the most time consuming part of getting those out there because you had some of the overall results with like the points, but I'm like, I'm trying to level out all of the scores so people can see all six finishes. And but it was really entertaining, and I'm stoked that I got to cover from home a little bit the Paris Supercross this year, and of course Vancouver WSX was a pretty solid race as well.
And it's always interesting when there's drama with the Lawrence brothers. So it always changes things up and makes you like when they get there, you always kind of expect them to win. But obviously, with what happened, we saw Tom Vial went too deep, about faced it, bounced up, and took out Jet.
Yeah,
And it's an accident, obviously, in his first race in a 450. So those kind of things can happen. But you can tell in the body language with Jet, like he was already done. Once that happened, you see the disappointment, and then after everything, and then there was more falling, him and Hunter, and you can actually see the body language that he just kind of not gave up. He obviously came back the next day and rebound and had a better performance, but you can tell that the steam's gone. If that didn't happen, he'd probably still be pulling huge bike lengths. But you never know. Like I said, Mookie was very impressive and definitely had an edge in those whoops, and he has a strength there. And in a track like that with those kind of whoops, that might be what you need. So, yeah, the Lawrence brothers unfortunately did not go well for them that weekend. And the next day, a Jet did, like you said, get the monkey off his back, and he busted out that quad, which was really big on the back rhythm there. And I guess there was some sort of gentleman's agreement there that no one was going to jump it. And then I think Jet was just over it, and he's like, whatever. But it's almost like
Jet
what it's
Lawrence
almost
doing Jet Lawrence things.
it's almost like it's just what he needed. Like once he did
Yeah,
that, and next thing you know, he started riding great again. So and then we saw in the last race, Malcolm did that same maneuver to get past Webb. He quadded over
yeah,
it, and it's pretty big. Like that was a big move right there. And Webb, kind of doing what Webb does. He's always positions himself perfectly there, but I wouldn't say he leaves the door open or anything like that, but he does get the pass on him
He's not
sometimes.
exactly known for being Cindy, let's be honest.
Yeah, exactly. And he's there and he holds it, but yeah, it's literally the send that got him. That Malcolm did to
The height
make
they
that
were
move.
getting off of that was
That
gnarly.
was
I
nuts.
mean, just watching it, it felt like Mookie was almost two people and bikes over top of Webb, like on the comparison, like the videos I saw on social media of it. I mean, it looked insane. It was like he was in a different stratosphere compared to Webb
Yeah.
just by popping that quad.
It's such big hang time. Yeah, it just looks like you're just floating for a second and then you drop on the tiniest little landing where I'm like, oh my god, dude, it's like half a bike length the landing. So pretty nuts doing that stuff. But it looked like great racing out there. And another big news for Malcolm was FXR as well. Like that was their first Premier Class win. So as a brand, that's huge, huge for the team, huge for them. We got their press release this morning. They emailed us. They gave us the information. They were very excited. Um, Really awesome to see for them. I know they had a win earlier in the season with Jordan Smith in Glendale. But yeah, for FXR, again, check out motocross.com. We got the full press release here. Again, you can see the moto score here 111,221. I mean, that's a lot of motos for sure for just 2 days crammed in there. But yeah, no, that shout out to FXR because that's pretty awesome for them. And they also had the pro fish gear design. They had like
Yeah,
a one-off design for Malcolm, obviously in incorporating his passions, and I think that's great when they do that. When brands do those kind of things, I think to keep these athletes human for this perspective of everyone else, like, and that's great. And he loves that. That's like probably loves it more than dirt bikes.
I think it's awesome. I mean, all of the brands seem to be more open to this because I know the Lawrence brothers had the Antisocial Social Club gear with A Stars,
Yep.
the collaboration. Now I think back to like AP, he had the Cowboy Thor gear, and then he had the Alan Jackson Chattahoochee inspired gear for a little bit. And even before Deegan left Thor, he had like the, I guess you could call it the Convict kit at Seattle, and then of course
Mm-hmm.
the Metal Militia
Metal
stuff he
Militia.
ran
Yep.
at Vegas. I mean, it's really cool to see some of these brands tying in like their traditions and what they usually like to do for gear, but also incorporating their riders and their personalities and what they like, whether it's fashion or fishing or country music, whatever it is. It's really cool to see them tying everything together. And I mean, I didn't realize what it was at first. I thought it was like some kind of snakeskin gear, to be completely honest, when I first saw it. But Mookie fishing, of course, that goes together like bread and butter. I mean, he loves to be out there on the water and reeling them in, and he was reeling them in at Paris, man. He was
Yeah.
reeling them in, catching them, and throwing them back out there because he
Yeah.
was on point. And it's really cool to see, like I mentioned in the article as well. I mean, FXR, I think about like their growth over the last decade, from sponsoring a privateer team here and there to like their title sponsor. Of course, they've had a really good partnership with TWMX and accomplished a lot there. Finally, they got that 250 Supercross win. They started supporting the Triumph team this year. And for them to get Mookie, first of all, I mean, that was a huge signing for them. But a few months later, for it to pay off with a big Paris Supercross victory is really cool for that brand. And it's been really cool to see their growth and to see them progress. And they've went from this kind of outside gear brand that not a lot of people heard of to one of the staple brands of the sport. I mean, they're out there every week and starting to get that same level. Obviously, it's hard to be on that Alpine Stars, Fox, Thor, Troy Lee Designs level because they have so much history and pedigree, but they are getting to that level of presence every week. Like everybody knows, like, oh, hey, there's the FXR guys out there. So, really cool accomplishment for them. And talking about really cool accomplishments, man. Eli Tomac, first race on the KTM. You want to talk about debuting with a bang? It was a fantastic weekend for Eli. Obviously, that was the big talking point of Vancouver. It's like, what is he going to do? We had the Hayden Deegan 450 debut in Argentina, Eli Tomac 450 KTM debut in Vancouver, and he looked pretty comfy out there. A first, a second, and another first. I mean, he looked solid, and I know that soil level of Vancouver very similar to the Seattle dirt. Eli's had some really good rides at Seattle in the past, but he made it look easy out there. And I don't know about you, but I feel like if I'm the other competitors, I'm worried a little bit because we know confident Eli Tomac is really
Mm.
hard to beat, and we keep hearing every year like, "Is this his last year? Is this his last year?" And he's been adamant the last few years. He's like, "No, I'm still racing," and he proved why he's still racing. And I mean, he goes out there, wins the thing. Kenny was riding really well, but dude, Eli on a KTM, I think it's a really good look. I mentioned it last time we talked, and it's a little weird seeing him with the one. I made the joke on one of my Discord servers. I'm like, wow, Dungy and Alpine Stars gear looks really weird, but Tomac, man, it was a lot of fun to watch. What are your thoughts on the World Supercross? I mean, it was a fun night of racing, but Eli getting the dub his first night on a KTM, I would be scared if I was some of the competition. Honestly, that's got to be a worrying sight.
I definitely agree, and I think his words exactly when they were talking about if he's retiring or not. He's like, if I can stay competitive, then I'm going to keep racing. Well, I guess it doesn't get much more competitive than still winning. So I'm excited to see. I mean, that's a lot of these riders when they hop on a new bike. That might be all they need sometimes to change things up to just kind of feel fresh again coming into the season. And him jumping in there and dominating like that. I mean, even his start in the last race was crazy, huge pull. I mean, he feels great on. I'm actually wondering if is he just jumping on kind of Sexton's old bike, old settings? I'm wondering, or is it? Do you think they just start fresh and
I feel like they had to have started fresh with the
yeah?
cable clutch and everything
Oh,
like that.
true.
I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm not entirely sure, but everybody's got their own sort of presets and ideology, and especially a guy like Eli who's won so many championships, they're probably like, whatever you want on a motorcycle, go to do it. And of course, they innovated with the cable clutch there, and I mean, he looks really comfy early on.
yeah. It seems to have paid off making those changes. So I'm sure they're happy with that and makes it worth it. But no, that was yeah, that was awesome to see. Ken Roxon, like I said, like you said, he was right there. But man, it was just definitely hard to beat Eli. He was just on it and all smiles. And again, it's the same thing. You see these guys go out and do these races, and then you're excited to see what they're gonna do here at AMA Supercross. It just makes you even more excited. I'm ready. I'm ready to see him. I'm ready to see Mookie up there. Like this is gonna be a really good year. And the World Supercross is interesting because to be in this title race, a lot of these guys are just kind of coming in, just kind of one off for these weekends. So the actual championship battle is not between these guys that we're seeing up front right now. It's actually a little further back, even like Christian Craig, I believe, because even Ken Roxon isn't necessarily committed to the full season. He has the red plate, but I believe what he's looking for right now is he's trying to find the sponsorship to get him to all of them. I think he wants to be at all of them, but he's not even fully committed yet. So that him having the red plate, it's almost misleading because we can't quite tell. He doesn't know if he's fully committed, whereas some of the other guys are fully committed. So the championship race in World Supercross is definitely kind of up in the air right now. So and then like Eli, obviously just coming in for this. I don't. Is he doing more? Do we know if he's doing more, or is it
He's
just
doing the
this?
next one in Australia, but that's
Okay,
the only other one. I mean, most of the wild card guys usually do 1 to 2 races.
right.
I think before it was just one race, but now this year you have guys like Tomac Webb, Hayden Deegan, Justin Cooper that are interested. So they're like, all right, we'll let you run too. But you bring up a great point with Kenny. I mean, there are rumblings that like potentially his pay might be a little lowered, or they don't want to necessarily because I guess the series was paying him the first few years to really have him as one of those
Hmm.
big name guys, and either that's run out or trickled off, whatever it may be. We don't know if Ken Roxon's going to be there the whole year. He's to this day he's raced every single World Supercross since it formed in 2022.
Yep.
But I mean, you look at the points right now and the way it would look like he's 20 up on Jason Anderson. But as you mentioned, if he doesn't race, it's going to be really a 3 horse fight between Anderson, Christian Craig, Joey Savacci. Those are
Yeah.
really going to be the guys to watch. Anderson looked a lot better this weekend, got on the podium there with his PMG Suzuki. I did see a picture on social media, can't remember where it was, but it was like, imagine showing this picture to somebody in 2017, and it was like Tomac on the podium with the KTM gear, and of course Roxon and Anderson as Suzuki teammates. It's like, wow, what a change in things. But Anderson looked a lot better. Christian's been solid. I mean, he seems like he looks a lot better than the last couple years. I think he's finally got some more confidence back. Of course, he had so many injuries, and then, of course, it seemed like at the end of the Star tenure, he felt like he really wasn't wanted at the team or something like that. I feel, and then now to get this chance with the Quad Lock Honda team to get back and start getting into race pace, it's really rejuvenated him, and he's looked more like his normal self.
Hmm.
And then you look at the 250 class, though. Max Anstey, man, he's 6 for 6 so far. He's been ripping. Of course, he's on that Star Yamaha. Yes, he's competing for GSM Yamaha, but that's his Star bike. And
Yeah.
he's going out there. He's pulling starts every weekend. and he's just going out there out front. He really hasn't been challenged much. Cody Schock was right there a couple motos, but he wasn't really close enough to apply pressure and really fight for that top spot. Anstey's been in a different level, and I said recording my podcast today, I'm like, no offense to Anstey, but if he's not there, that championship fight would be insane with the guys like Schock, Lopes,
Hmm.
McElrath, Park, Thompson, Kyle Peters, Michael Hicks. Those guys are all trading positions every
Yeah.
race and really fighting each other tooth and nail. I mean, we saw some beef this weekend,
Mhm.
or Canadian bacon, I guess you could call it, with Colin Park and Cole Thompson. I mean, those guys were just yelling at each other, shouting at each other, when are we going to Tim Hortons? Tomorrow. I mean, they were out there on the start straight, giving each other what for. And I guess there were possible attempted takeouts on the second race sight lap and some block passes and some cross jumping. And who doesn't love a little beef in motocross to really
Yeah.
spice things up? But it was a fun weekend. I mean, Anstey's
He's
looking really, really good right now.
he's going for that perfect
And of
season.
course, yeah, I mean, perfect season. Everybody always talks about, oh, World Supercross is not that many rounds. But if you win 15 of main events, out of 15, I mean, that would be pretty impressive, I think. And of course, he started off the 2025 AMA Supercross season really well, got that win in Tampa, held the red plate, then he got hurt. So maybe this is kind of like building up to his revenge. He's held the red plate several times, even when he was at the Firepower Honda team. Well, it was then Firepower Honda, now Quadlock Honda, of course, but he even held the red plate there for a couple rounds a couple years ago. And he really seems like he's building and kind of getting that revenge. Like, I should have been Monster Energy Supercross champion. And it really feels like his mindset now is I can use World Supercross, and then if I stay healthy, I can become Monster Energy Supercross champion, because he is firing on all cylinders right now. Very comfortable. Starts are on point. Speed is on point. Technique is on point. He's quite frankly on another level right now compared to the rest of the field in the SX2 class.
Oh yeah, definitely. And then it was unfortunate we saw Shane McElrath didn't really have the weekend he wanted. I know he's defending, right, so he is expecting more
Yep.
out of himself, definitely. And he's one of those guys that I think is very talented, and I'm always really excited to talk to him because he's very genuine, and he's one of those guys that I'm always excited for when he does well. And a lot of times when I've talked to him, when he doesn't have a good night, he's not that you're hard on yourself, but he definitely, you can always see he wants to do better. So I know this one in particular, I know it wasn't great for him, and I know he was bummed on it, but still should be stoked that everyone's out there riding good and coming out of it clean is most important. Like you said, the 250 class is pretty wild. These guys were cross jumping, booting each other all over the place. So I think we're lucky just to come out of there. But
There were some mechanical gremlins for Shane. It was really
mm-hmm.
hurting him. I didn't get to see any of practice or qualifying, but apparently his primary bike, there was some kind of issue going
That's
on.
right. Yeah, you
They
have to
ended
bring it
up
back
getting the
up.
second bike together for him to race, and then he ended up switching back to the primary later in the night. But it's been a tough year for him, and even the couple rounds of Australian Supercross he raced when that season kicked off, it was uncharacteristic. He was going down early or getting bad starts, which usually you don't see from Shane in these international races, but he's got a week off to really go back, dig deep at MTF, and then hit these last three, hit the ground running, and really get back to that point where he's up there fighting for the win. I think realistically, the way the points look now, it's Max Anstey's title to lose. I mean, you
Yeah,
get a
definitely.
20 something point lead within 2 rounds. That's pretty insane. So, Shane, right now, I think he can definitely salvage some really good results at the next 3 rounds. If he can go out there, start getting his familiar good starts, and really work through the bugs a little bit compared to some of the stuff that's been happening to him, I think he'll figure it out and be back on the podium for sure. Cody Schock also looked really good. I mean, Cody, of course, the last couple years, he's really just continued to elevate his game, and he wasn't quite there at Max, but he shadowed him the last couple races. He was right there, a second or so back in those lines. If Max would have made a mistake, Cody was right there and could have taken a win, but Max stayed perfect, and I think Cody had a really good weekend. And of course, he's become kind of the lead guy over at Club MX. I know Voland had a really good year, but Cody performed really well too, and he's started to break away a little bit as that second best guy, at least through 2 rounds, but there's still a lot of racing to go. Of course, like I mentioned, you have Enzo, you have Cullen, you have Shane, so many guys out there, but I'm excited to see how the series progresses and to see what these guys can carry into Supercross, because I know like Joey Savacci last year, he had a really good year in World Supercross. He won the Australian Championship, and he came into Supercross, and it seemed like he was riding better than he had in a few years. And of course, he was putting together solid rides. I know when he was on the Rocky Mountain KTM a few years ago, he was really like the top non-factory guy, and it seemed like he really got to that level again last year. Him and Ferrandis and Justin Hill even were really mixing it up there. But you have these guys, they're starting to build this momentum and get these off-season races under their belt. And come January at Anaheim or February when the East Series kicks off, whichever coast they decide to do, these guys are going to be really spicy and have a lot of confidence as opposed to those guys who are just spinning laps at the test track every week, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And we got a couple comments here we're going to catch up on real quick. CKY Moto always chiming in on our videos. Say, what's up, Gavin Trey? Say, yeah, like he says, talking Tuesdays with Transworld Trey and Gavin. He's got our names. He's helping us with our name for the show. And then we got Kane Hickson asked for the Paris Supercross question. Says, did the stock Honda make a difference? I think we're talking about Lawrence brothers. So were they probably
Lawrence's, yeah.
on a different bike than they're usually used
I
to?
heard they had possibly their standard suspension and exhaust, but everything else was production. I mean, I think it might have made a little bit of a difference, but if Jet Lawrence is popping quads on that thing and with a stock motor and winning races, I mean, some difference, yes, but I feel like those guys are at such an elite level where you could probably throw them on anything and they're going to come. You put Jet Lawrence on a Honda 85, and that guy's still going to go out there and perform really well. I mean, it's hard to say 100% because I mean, I don't race competitively. I don't know how much that difference in transition is. And obviously, he's used to having the best of the best stuff, but he was still up there winning races when he didn't have bad luck. So I don't think it made a ton of difference. Although the whoops, I don't think, even if they were on the standard Honda, I feel like the whoops were so much different than America that they could have caught them by surprise because we're used, like you said earlier, the whole 9 whoop rule. And of course, over here in America, they like to break down a lot. Sometimes you have to switch between skimming them, blitzing them, and then you have to jump through them and figure out your rhythm. And I mean, the whole weekend it was just hammer through them all the way. So I think that's a good question. I mean, I don't know for sure. Like I said, I don't ride. I've never raced at that level, so it's hard for me to really give a complete answer. It might have made somewhat of a difference, but as I mentioned, if Jet is pulling quads and winning races, I think that that speaks for his talent level and adaptability more than anything else.
Yeah, definitely. And I remember when they brought the new model Hondas out. I think maybe last year.
Yeah, you didn't do it. Hunter was on.
He liked those stock bikes a lot. I remember them mentioning that they once they tested the new stock bikes and they got their factory bikes ready, they were kind of chasing the stock settings
Yeah,
as their starting point. And I'm sure by now it's already been they developed it and got it all dialed in. So I'm sure there is a little bit of a difference, but maybe that's why he's also comfortable on it because how much they did like that stock bike originally. So they're pretty comfortable on it regardless. And then we also have some more silly season news, some big news drop, kind of the one we were waiting on, kind of the one, another one we already knew about. We got Justin Barsha, Dylan Ferrandis for Ducati, the new manufacturer entering into the series next year. Very exciting. Ducati is a big brand. I mean, when you think Ducati, you're thinking. I mean, when I was younger, I always thought it was like the Ferrari of motorcycles. You know, it was kind of like that. And so to see, I actually kind of think Barsha and Dylan are going to be pretty good picks for it, and it's also a good almost test for them because you got two pretty big different riding styles on that bike, so they're going to really test the limits of these bikes with Barsha being wide open and maybe Dylan being a little more calculated with it. I'm excited to see how these bikes flow with them.
I also really like the team name. I was making jokes earlier in the year. I'm like, I can't wait to see the team name because it's going to be something insanely long. So now every article I'm going to have to write Troy Lee designs Red Bull Ducati Factory Racing. Like, can we add a few more things in there?
Yeah,
Make it like Troy Lee designs Red Bull Ducati Factory Racing with Chip Ganassi Racing, DHL, and whatever else was on the shirts. I mean, can we just get a few more words in there? But in all seriousness, I mean, you're right. You got Barsha, who's hammer it wide open. I mean, I always like to go back and watch the videos of him on that carb 250 and just absolutely ringing that thing out. And then you have Ferrandis, who's a little finicky with what he likes on a motorcycle and
mm-hmm.
more of a technique style rider. Going to be very interesting to see. But in terms of veterans, with of course Barsha, he's won several races throughout his career, of course, multiple time 250 champion, then Ferrandis, 450 motocross champion. Both of these guys have won at the highest level. They've beaten the best guys in the world. They've gone out there, performed at a really high level, and for Ducati to have those two guys as their baseline and start to develop things, I think it's a really good move. Of course, Barsha has a ton of experience working with the TLD team and all the success he had there when he was on a gas.
I
Going to
mentioned,
be very interesting. What was you going to say?
I was gonna say I'm noticing this Paramount Plus logo on the team. That's an interesting
Oh yeah,
sponsor.
I
Huh.
mean, we had the Sony Pictures thing before. Remember the Venom kits at Vegas
Hmm.
last year when Pierce Brown got that win, and I think they had a Ghostbusters kit at one time too a couple years ago. So they had to deal with Sony Pictures. I don't know if that's like transitioned over to Paramount Plus. I don't know what all is on Paramount Plus. I personally don't have that subscription service, but I mean, imagine I remember the commercial from the Super Bowl a couple years ago, and it was like they had Creed performing, and they were like throwing the kid from Hey Arnold or something, like a football. I mean, it was. Could you imagine some of the collaborations? Because Troy always nails some of those kits. The
Yeah.
amount of collabs and crazy stuff they could do, it'd be really cool to see. And they always pull in some outside sponsors. I remember when Adidas was with Troy Lee Design's team, and he usually has like Nature's Bakery was there for a little bit
Hmm.
when they were sponsoring NASCAR as well. So cool to see some of these outside sponsors and Troy's reach continue. But I mean, just huge for the sport in general to have the Ducati brand, of course, like you mentioned. I mean, they just have such a big pedigree of winning in street bike stuff, MotoGP, and now conquering AMA Supercross, trying to. They had a decent year in MXGP, nothing crazy. A couple podiums, though, a decent baseline year, and now they've really revamped their roster. They have a more experienced factory level team running the show over in MXGP this next year. And they added Calvin Vlanderen and Andrea Bonacorsi over there, so it'll be fun to watch their team in Europe. But it'll be really interesting to see. I mean, I don't expect anything crazy, but Justin Barsha is always good at Anaheim one, man, and he won three openers in a row, including the last time he showed up for a brand new brand on a red bike in the first round. He kind of won the thing. So Justin Barsha going to win Anaheim one. Not my actual pick, but hey, man, I
Hey.
wouldn't be surprised at this point.
True. It might just be that exact same thing I mentioned earlier. Some of these riders just need that change, and next thing you know, they're just feeling good. So I'm definitely excited to see this. It's just so fresh and excited to see where they're gonna stack up. And like I said, they got talented riders. Yeah, I'm excited to see it.
It
Paramount
would be
Paramount Plus.
very A1 like though. It would be very A1 like though. We're going to go into it. We're going to say Cooper Webb's the defending champion. Jed Lawrence fresh off another super motocross title. Chase is on a Kawasaki. Eli's on a KTM. Hunter's healthy. Aaron's healthy. Justin Barsha wins on a Ducati. That would be a very on brand Anaheim one thing to happen as well.
Yeah.
Or just somebody under the radar. Like maybe Kenny shows up and wins A1 because Kenny at A1 usually is very hard to beat. So one of these guys that we're not even really talking about and really anticipating might just fly in under the radar. Who knows? Maybe Justin Cooper goes out there and is like, you know what? I'm tired of everybody talking about these other folks. I was
Yeah.
on the podium. I'm going to step it up. I mean, there's so many guys out there that could conceivably win Anaheim one, and I know we're slightly under 2 months away from it, but now we're starting to get that itch. We see Paris, we see Vancouver, we're seeing these glimpses, these photos, these clips, and we're like, I want Supercross.
Yeah, it's literally just around the corner. It's coming way too quick. Like I would keep saying, what off season? I mean, we literally have so much
Yeah,
racing happening. I mean, from the amateur stuff. I mean, even the enduro cross stuff's been popping off. Like, there's literally so much happening. It's like, and I mean, our biggest goal at Trans Motocross is to cover everything. Eventually, I want to have representation. I want to have filmers and photographers at almost every event. I want our YouTube channel to be popping off and covering. I mean, there will be no off season. So eventually, that's our goals. We'll get there eventually, but it just gets the backing, and then we'll have it. But yeah, no, this is great. Great to see. Like you said, Justin Cooper is another. That's another. He's so consistent, so fast. He just needs to get a little more aggressive, throw some elbows, punt some people off the track, get make kind of some of those moves happen, and I think we'll start seeing some wins out of him too. Because I mean, he's out there qualifying always on the top. So yeah, but I think A1's going to be. I mean, I have no idea. It could be anything, but I think what I am excited about is our live shows during that week because, again,
oh man,
like you guys know, like the live show has been we kind of soft launched it and SMX in those rounds. I thought I was maybe gonna just do 3 shows and then get ready for next year, but we just having so much fun doing this, and there's been, like I said, so much happening that we just have to cover it. So we're having a lot of fun doing that. But yeah, A1, I'm really excited that we'll do a pre-show the Tuesday before the racing starts, and then we'll after that. Probably every Tuesday after that is the goal. But yeah, I couldn't be more excited for that because I'm sure it's going to be we're gonna be like at the races, just mind blown when I'm on the side of the track, and then I'm gonna be like, oh, I can't wait for Tuesday. But let's check out Partsville Arena Cross. Like I mentioned, that is what we are doing. Like, kind of like to end the show in that way. We always like to kind of circle back to Partsville Arena Cross. I'll pull up the website real quick, but we are going back to Fayetteville, North Carolina, right here at the counter at the top, round 7 and 8. Man, 7 and 8 already. 4 days, 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 13 seconds, and we will be there right here. I get to go home to my own bed afterwards. It's always very exciting when you get to go to the races and come home. The Fox FS1, FS2 coverage, it has been airing. I know the first weekend's been airing pretty much like twice a day or something crazy. There's like 115 airings in like the next 2 months or whatever, just till the end of the year. So we have quite a lot of coverage happening there. If you guys want to watch those races, obviously the YouTube channel is also where you can see some of the recaps that I'll be doing. I will be there this weekend. Like I said, I was supposed to be there a few days ago, but it was rescheduled. So we'll figure out when that's going to happen, and we'll be going back to Florida for that. But it was still a good weekend hanging out there in Plessinger. Oh, you know what I didn't say is I did ask AP, how he's feeling, and he said he's feeling great. So let's see. I mean, I didn't get too deep into it with him because we were there for something else, but it was good to catch up with him and just kind of see how he's going to stack up this year, because I really want to see him do well. He's a crowd favorite. He's a genuine person, but he's fast as hell. He could win. He could do great out there. I think the competition is insane in the 450 class, but I would love to see AP get through a full season, no injuries, no health problems. Let's just get through it. Let's get some wins, and let's just do really well there. Again, check out his YouTube channel. That's another project of mine. I do all Aaron Plessinger's YouTube, so please check it out. We will drop a video tomorrow from the event we did over the weekend. It's a lot of fun. You'll see a minivan do some crazy jumps. But yeah, Partsville Arena Cross presented by Transworld Motocross. We are so stoked to be a part of this. Partsville has been a great partner with us on everything we've been doing. There is a prize contingency for all this, and we add more and more to that with the ticket sales as we go. So the pot will grow throughout it. It does go into 2026. So this schedule right here, as you can see, we are right here, Fayetteville, North Carolina. Then I will be at this one as well in Georgia. After this, I go on a little trip. Then we come back just in time for this. And then I'll probably be at this one. Probably this one. I think it's just these last two that I won't be at because we will be in Supercross on these weekends. So what's great about this series is a lot of these guys will race it and maybe get their feet wet or start getting warmed up for Supercross again. I know I've seen Landon Gibson out there. There is the Partzilla guys are out there. They got some new riders that they brought on, and they're racing. Liam and Hamden. Yep, they're out there, as well as Ferry's out there racing. Luke Neese. Yep.
Aiden Shive, Ryder Floyd, Chase Kessler. These guys are putting in some great races. I actually just watched the FS1 broadcast of the round 2 action, had it recorded and checked out some of the action. Of course, that was the night where Gibson swept both classes, but fun to watch. And of course, Wes Kane and Jay Sowen recording the commentary for the broadcast episodes, but really cool to see. Of course, I see some clips in there and I'm like, that's a Gavin Ayala clip.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that, but cool to see the TV presence. Go check it out and look for your local listings, whether you have cable, YouTube, TV, whatever you may have, go check it out. Like Gavin said, I mean, they air a lot of different times. I'm not sure when all of the airings are, but Partzilla Arena Cross, sometimes I think it might be listing as Tri-State Arena Cross or something like that.
Oh, yeah, TriStar. I think they have to do that because I think that is what it comes up as is TriStar Arena Cross. And if you have a live TV package. You can find it like on Hulu. Hulu has a live TV
Mm,
package. If you have that package, you could actually just go watch it and look it up. But you do look up, you just type up Arena Cross, or it will come up as TriStar Arena Cross, which is the series
yeah,
owner. That's his business. But the reason they do that is because they're not allowed to put sponsors in the titles for the broadcast like that. So they can't actually put the brand in there. That's why you don't, if you look at other broadcasts like that, you won't see Monster Energy Supercross.
it'd be AMA Supercross.
Yeah, like or just NASCAR. It'll be like that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So
NASCAR Cup Series from Talladega. Yeah,
yeah, so they kind of follow those rules. So that's why that's kind of why you don't want to look up Partzilla Arena Cross, you won't find it. So yeah, keep an eye out for TriStar Arena Cross on FS1, FS2. Good point on that one. Yeah, I'm glad you checked that out too. And yeah, they do have my footage. They asked me for my footage, and I was like, oh yeah, no problem. And it's always funny. I'm always being told that I need to update my website and my resume of all the different places that my footage has been. I've had footage on Shark Tank in the past. Again, moto related. Actually, my buddy that makes Grip Clean, Bryce Hudson, he's an X Games rider, and one of the
mm,
promotions we did when he lived with me at the time is we went to Fitzland and he did like backflips, and they didn't know what they were doing filming dirt bikes, so they liked my footage the most, and they just used all my footage for like the show, and so I have a good
man, I
little
remember when I started
portfolio.
watching. Him and Ronnie Renner were always back and forth on
Oh,
Step Up.
step up,
Man,
yeah.
those guys were going at it.
Yeah, no, he's a talented dude. He just started like a kids channel now too. So shout out to him. Happy's Adventures. Check it out if you got some kids. We've been watching it, and theme songs been stuck in my head all day. But it's what happens when you have kids, man. You start watching all these other things. I've actually had an idea for a kid show as well, involving moto. We'll see if I have time to do it. I don't want to say what it is just yet because it's an idea I've been having for a while. So I think it'd be kind of cool. But we'll see. It's more about the time and everything else I'm doing because I have other projects and opportunities that have been coming my way as well that I'm excited to talk about that I won't say just yet. But let's just say you guys know that I have been brought on to revitalize Transworld Motocross. That's my position here and everything that I'm doing. And I may have another opportunity with another Transworld brand to help bring back to life. So I'm really excited about that, and it's going to help me keep entering more into the space of action sports and everything that I am very passionate about myself, and very excited to keep this going and keep growing and just kind of keep reinvesting and doing everything we can. Like you guys see, we don't have logos all over this. Like this is just, I mean, self-funded. Like
Sponsor us here.
yeah, like help me. Like I got emails and things going
Your
on right
name
now.
here.
Yeah, exactly. Like we're definitely looking for that help, but we'll get there. Like I said, it's just this opportunity it's one of those opportunities that came to me. It's like, hey, you want to take the risk? I mean, I'm a yes man, so I was like, let's do it. Even though I'm like, but I'm making it happen. So I'm excited that people appreciate it. I've been hearing a lot of really nice compliments and everything from people, from fans, from supporters, from even my partners and higher ups and executives of companies that tell me that hey, I recognize what you're doing. Like it definitely feels good. So I'm excited to keep doing what I'm doing, and hopefully I can get the backing we need to just keep this going even bigger. Because I think a lot of people don't realize what goes into this, and I think people maybe think it's a little bit more lucrative than it is, because it's not at all. It's just like literally like I am taking on this risk, and I have to work on the side to make this work for me. Like it's not paying my bills yet. Like eventually it will. Like I'm just being real and transparent with you guys, because I don't mind. Like hey, I want you guys to understand like this is literally passion fueled to make this happen. Trey is he's helping me, and like most people that help me right now, between my photographers and helpers, like a lot of these guys are just kind of volunteering and helping when they can. So huge shout out to you, Trey, for all the help that you've been doing and helping us keep motocross.com alive and strong. Eventually we're going to keep getting on more help. But right now, Trey is our main guy, just like Josh is our main photographer. Shout out to Josh Davey Photo. Check him out. These guys are available for hire. Trey's, he can always help out with your guys' projects too. If you ever need anything, feel free to reach out to him. I want all of these guys to succeed along with us. That is the goal. Josh, he just got hired for World Supercross. He did the last 2 rounds as like one of their main photographers. So I'm really
He's
stoked for
killing it,
him.
man.
Stoked for him to get that opportunity, somewhat through this, getting some recognition through Transworld Motocross as well. And if I can offer that, then I'm glad that there's something there. at least happening that way. So, shout out to you guys for sure for all your help, and also shout out to all the viewers and everyone that watches, because this is what we have right now. That you are the currency right now that's fueling this, is just your
Yeah.
eyes and your in helping us and sharing these videos and just liking them and helping us. I mean, this is all, it's all very exciting, but you just know that if you really want to know where I think I'm at right now, what I'm doing, I only feel like I'm at 10%. And I feel like I have a really, and I'm being complimented a lot on what I'm doing. We outperform competitors during the busy season. Every once in a while, we're outperforming people when it comes to our views and engagement. I've built this thing up to, like, on good month, like 16 million impressions and views between all our platforms, which is pretty big. Um, I think we've done better than its past and everything. So it's like we are actually outperforming a lot of things. But personally, when I look at it, I just kind of am more critical of myself, because I'm like, man, I can be doing so much more. But I'm doing good. I'm not trying to knock it, but, like, really, if you guys want to know what I think, I feel like I'm only at 10%. So just wait until the next few years unfold with everything I'm doing, and I think you're gonna see this really explode. Like I said, my biggest goal is really to become one of the top media outlets in the sport, and we cover everything. I want to cover not only Supercross and motocross. I want that to be the core, but we're gonna cover the international races. I want to cover endurocross. I want to cover, like, works racing, desert racing, anything dirt bikes. That's what I want to be. That's where I want us. We'll keep Supercross and motocross pro racing the core, but we're going to spread out everywhere. I want to cover all the amateur events. I want to start building the team, just kind of subcontracting content creators with, like, a shot list that can help us create the content we need and build a team again. I used to have a team back in the day. Like, it's just me now, and then you guys to help me. But before, I had like 5 employees full time working for me when I used to operate all the YouTube channels. Like, I used to, if you guys aren't familiar, my history is like, for 10 years, I ran and produced all the Deegan's content from 0 to 1.3 million subscribers. I grew all their YouTube, did everything. I hired their filmer now, Donnie. Shout out to him. He's crushing it, still doing good. That was one of my guys. I found him. I did all that. So people don't realize that I'm a little bit more behind the scenes, but that is my history. That's where these opportunities come from, and that's where my recognition started. That's where that gold YouTube plaque is, with the Deegan plaque right there. It says the Deegans. I got Hayden's jersey from when he was like 10 years old. And like I said, I help AP now too. So I got some cool little mementos right there, which I actually am pretty bad about collecting. I usually don't collect a lot of things. I don't care. The way I see it, the good things will come your way if they're meant to. And that's kind of how it's been so far for me. And I believe in that and believe in myself and what I'm doing. So I hope that you guys can appreciate that too and have a better understanding of where it comes from and what I'm doing. And I want it to be way bigger than me. I really want this to be so much more, and I want to create opportunities with it for others. And like I said, there's more opportunities coming, and I plan on taking everything full steam ahead. But right now it's all about that foundation. We're building the foundation right now. That way, so we can stand on this strong and really hit things hard. Because this was a pretty broken thing when it was given to me, and that's what I'm doing, is fixing it up and doing the best I can. So I definitely appreciate everyone for tuning in and watching our show. Trey, where can we find you? You got a show coming out. You recorded one today. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, episode number 19 of the Steyr Sound. We're going to cover a lot of topics that we covered tonight: Paris Supercross, Vancouver World Supercross, some of the silly season moves. Of course, my co-host Jack Noel and I will be talking about everything. His team, he works for the Dirt Bike Depot WMR KTM team. They've officially revealed their rosters. I will be doing an article on that here in the next couple of days for the Transworld Motocross site, but talked a little bit about that and that team's returning lineup, plus, of course, like I mentioned, the off-season races. Some of the recent silly season moves. We've been going to a bi-weekly schedule instead of weekly like we are during the season, but it'll be on all major platforms. Sometimes we have some issues with YouTube for whatever reason when it likes to upload, so it might be a day later on YouTube, but YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, the big platforms, that's where you can find us at. At the Steyr Sound Official is my podcast Instagram handle. And then if you want to find me on my other personals, TJ Steyr 3, TJ STIRE, and the number 3 on Instagram, and then Steyr 23 on X. Once again, I mean, thank you everybody for listening. You guys are really helping us out, watching the live shows, liking and commenting on the Instagram or Facebook posts, reading the articles. Make sure to spread the word, all the people I talked to when I was at Budds Creek and asking them and really talking to people, introducing myself. so many people were like, man, I used to love reading Transworld Motocross all the time. I used to love reading Kickstarter. I remember their bike reviews or this thing. So many people love the Transworld Motocross brand. And if you continue to share it with friends, family, coworkers, whoever, let them know, Transworld Motocross, we're coming back. We're starting to build and really get things in motion and start to gain a little bit of momentum. And it's you guys, the core viewers, the readers, the likers, the commenters, you guys that really keep things going. So thank you for spending some more time with us this evening. And of course, I know we got some regulars who tune in every single week during our YouTube show. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We really appreciate it. And hopefully we can just keep building and building and building and make 2026 a really great year. And thank you once again for the opportunity. I'm enjoying it a lot and really putting this stuff out there on the site. And stay tuned to motocross.com because we're going to have you covered when news breaks, if news breaks. We got you covered, folks.
Yeah, definitely. Appreciate you, Trey, for all your hard work. And hey, on your shows, do you when you put it on YouTube and stuff, are you doing video too, or is it mainly just audio shows that you do?
Just audio for
Okay.
now. I have like the RSS feed is originally through Spotify to share to other platforms. Right now, we're just audio only on YouTube, but in the future, we could do some video stuff. I mean, we floated the idea around right now. I really don't have a camera. I don't have a microphone. I plan on purchasing a microphone sometime soon, a better one, instead of me just talking into my phone with like my standard headset or whatever. But we're trying to grow a little bit as well there. But sometime in the future, we definitely would love to have video and for people to be able to watch that and stuff. But we'll definitely talk about that more in the future as well. And we're just trying to grow, and I'm trying to figure out this podcast scape as well because it's fairly new to me. The hosting thing, the editing thing, all of that stuff, it takes in a lot more elements, I feel like, than people realize. But hey, we're small, but we're trying to work and put it out there and make sure that people know that we're serious about the sport and we provide our views, our opinions, but we try to keep things lighthearted usually and have a good time talking about moto.
Yeah, definitely. I'm wondering, like, because we're multi-stream right now on YouTube and Facebook, but eventually I want to have all the platforms
Yep.
we can for next year once we have the, a little more solidified. So I think those audio platforms I might have to pursue a little bit and kind of talk to you about what you think, how to do
Gotcha.
that the right way. But yeah, definitely. Also, shout out to you guys commenting. CKY Moto, obviously, he's always here commenting.
Oh
So
yeah.
I'm stoked to see him. He just left another one. He said he used to look forward to getting home from school on Mondays and reading the Monday Kickstart on the TWMX website. So might have
I
to.
used to read Kickstart in class.
Yeah, yeah. Might have to bring some of these things back. I definitely want it to be. I'm not going to just pull and do exactly what it used to be in the past. Obviously, under new management, under me, like what I'm doing, I do
Yeah.
want to make it my own as well and make things different. So maybe we'll, there's been a leap in technology too since then. So maybe we'll call it push to start or something. No, I was kidding. But I'm just joking. That's corny. But yeah, we'll try to bring back some of those old elements, but also, I am in talks. It's really kind of on me. They've been asking me, waiting for me to give them the green light about possibly bringing back print again. So it's to me, it's really just getting the backing that we need now, building that foundation I was talking about, knowing that me and my content creators are going to be at every single round, no problem. Then I feel like okay, confident in saying let's turn this back on and we'd be able to do some more magazines. My partners, luckily, the arena group, they have so many different magazines and brands that for us to create a magazine again isn't that huge of a deal because we can kind of just slide it into the production that's already happening. So I just got to populate the magazine with everything. So we might have to revisit some of the old things, but there's going to be a lot of new things. For instance, I think a lot of it will be a lot of really good photography pages. Really want to showcase the photography and the art that we do these days and the content creation we do. And I do want to link back to a lot of the content and the video in it, like with QR codes and things like that, where you can, when you're in the magazine, trying to link it back to the digital side of things and call back to YouTube. I think that'd be good because, print isn't as popular as it used to be, but maybe there's a way to connect them. So that's kind of something that I would like to work on in the future when we do those things. So we got some ideas. It never ends, but we'll see. We're taking it one day at a time out here, but looking forward to next season. It's going to be our best year yet, I think, and I think every year is just going to get better. So we got to keep it going. Again, thank you, Trey. You can find Trey, gave out his socials. Keep an eye out for his show again tomorrow. Please support him as he supports us. You can check me out. I'm Gavin Ayala, Gavenayala, on Instagram. And yeah, thank you guys for checking out our show. I will see you this week. And if you're in North Carolina, come out. come say what's up. We'll be at Fayetteville. I'll be there Friday and Saturday. It's a great show. It's a good production. I'm excited to get back to the races, and I'm excited for A1, baby. It's gonna be fun. And then we'll in our pre-show and A1 show. I'm really excited for those live streams because it's just gonna be like so
It's
much
right
hype.
around the corner, baby.
Yeah. Oh, I know it's a little too close, but all right, guys. Well, thank you again for joining us on our show. We will talk.